Hey guys, what is up and welcome to my channel. It's a Hardback Life. My name is Jordan and today we're going to be talking about my August TBR. Now if you saw on my June wrap-up video, which I posted in July, I think mid-July, I was involved in a readathon in June called the Olympic Games Readathon, and that was a lot of fun. However, it was also somewhat draining because, I had to technically read 16 books, but like I said, it was still a lot of fun. And I only read 5 of those 16 books for the readathon, but hey, 5 is a good number, especially for me. But because of that readathon, like I said, I was drained a little bit. Not just because of the readathon, though. It was also because of work and just life. I literally was in a mess towards the end of June and somewhat in the beginning of July that I had to take a break. I had to take a break from just reading a bit and just life a little bit. I was still working, obviously, but I had to take like a mental month. So July was not a month where I was posting much. And yeah. But I'm back now. And I'm feeling a lot better. And I'm ready to tackle a lot of the books that I have on my TBR. And there's a lot of them. So I don't expect to finish all of them, but I expect to get through quite a few of them because some of them I have an audiobook, and yeah, I plan on finishing those for sure, and then some of the others. Alright, well, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? The first book I'm going to talk about I have on audiobook and physical form, and that is The Fall of Giants by Ken Follett, I think is how you say his last name. And this is the first book in the Century Trilogy. This is a historical fiction novel, the first of 3, like I said. And this focuses around 5 families. And there's also real world topics that happened, or obviously it's historical fiction, so it touches on, from what I'm reading in the back, World War, the Russian Revolution, and the struggle for women's suffrage. So those are just a few topics that are named as far as book 1 goes. And I'm only on chapter 1, I know. I started it last month, but didn't really feel a desire to pick it back up because I had somewhat of a reading slump last month. Also, if I wanted to pick up a book last month, I picked up a book, but I never finished any of the books that I started. But I'm really excited to read this one because it's historical fiction, and I love historical fiction, and I've heard so many good things about this author, and so far I'm enjoying it. But there's 940 something pages in this book. But like I said, I have an audiobook form, so ta-da! I happened to find this at a Goodwill along with this, so it was like meant to be. Anyway, that's the first book I'm going to be reading. I really, really want to get this one done, so this is going to be a priority. Alright, the second book I plan on finishing is The Bone Shard Daughter. I have really wanted to get into this one, and I think on shelf space, it's one of the buddy reads. So I'm looking forward to getting into this. This is about a princess whose family's rule is kind of failing, and her father has practiced bone shard magic, which is like a dangerous type of magic, and he refuses to claim her as a true, as an heir to the throne, because obviously he's the ruler and he wants to maintain control of his kingdom. But there is a revolution that's starting. People are starting to kind of go against him, and his daughter wants to prove that she's worthy, so she decides to learn the art of bone shard magic, but that's going to come at a cost to her. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Anyway, this is The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. The next book I want to talk about is a book that I'm sad I have not started yet. Because this book came out in June, and I just wanted to get my hands on it as soon as I bought it, as soon as it came out. And The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. I really want to read this, so I definitely need to start this book. This is the standalone novel, which is set after the Truly Devious Trilogy by Maureen Johnson. You see the 3 books in the back. That's the Truly Devious Trilogy, which I have in there, and I absolutely enjoyed it. I read it last year, and it was fantastic. It was a little bit cliche, but it was still great. It's about a girl named Stevie who goes to this school in Vermont, and she tries to solve a 70-year-old plus case. So it's a mystery, a young adult murder mystery, and dark academia. So I loved the trilogy, and I can't wait to see what this standalone novel has in store for us. Okay, so a book that I started last month and didn't finish. Ariadne is how I can't remember how to say it, but this is about a Greek mythology, a Greek myth based off of a forgotten female in Greek mythology, Ariadne. And this is about her life, essentially. This is by Jennifer Saint, and I am glad to read this. I started this, like I said, I'm on chapter 2 or 3, and I'm enjoying it so far. Okay, these next 3 books are a trilogy, and that, my friends, is the Draconis Memoria Trilogy by Anthony Ryan. Now, my friend Trinity loves this author. He's one of her favorite authors on the planet. And so I have high expectations. Also hearing that his writing has been compared to Brandon Sanderson. So, yeah, I have high expectations. But I really think I'm going to enjoy this. Anyway, the Draconis Memoria Trilogy consists of this one, The Waking Fire, which I was supposed to read last month not last month, in June for the readathon. Didn't happen. And then Book 2, Legion of Flame. And Book 3, Empire of Ashes. I don't know what they are about, but I'm going to go into this trilogy blind and just hope for the best. But I think I will generally like it. Okay, this next book I want to talk about is a book that I've been wanting to start so bad because I've heard so many great things about it from people like Alan from Library of Allenxandria, and from my friend Charmaine, and several other people who've read it. And that is Senlin Ascends, which is the first book in the Books of Babel series. Now, I wanted to start it this month because The final book in the series, which is book 4, comes out in November? Yeah, in November. So I wanted to read this book in August. And then book 2, called Arm of the Sphinx, in September. And then October, I wanted to read the Hod King. And then the 4th and final book, which is called The Fall of Babel. I'll put up actually a picture of it real quick again, like I did in one of my other videos. So I want to read this series so bad. It's about a guy named Thomas Senlin who is traveling with his wife, and they get separated because of the Tower of Babel. And I don't really know too much about it, but they get separated, and he tries to find her throughout this novel. There's obviously other things that happen, but that's all I know. So I'm excited about this, though, because like I said, I've heard so many great things. Anyway, this is Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. So looking forward to it. Alright, the next book on this list is a book I've started, and that is The Eye of Minds by James Dashner. This is the first book in a quintet, I believe. So yeah, 5 books, I believe, are in this, called the Mortality Doctrine series. This is about 3 friends who were picked by the VNS, which is a virtual society of people who rule the virtual world. Anyway, like all the virtual gaming, they run all that. Anyway, so Michael and his friends Sarah and Bryce are handpicked because they're the best coders, and they're handpicked because they have to stop this guy named Kane from basically taking over the virtual world and doing a lot of terrible things. Like, because of Kane, a lot of people who decide to go gaming in the virtual world have ended up dead in the real world. And yeah, it's been bad, and it's just really bad. I've really been enjoying this. I'm 128 pages in, so I plan on finishing this one first. Next 2 books I want to talk about are from a series that I have loved so far, and that is Summer Night and Death Mask, the 4th and the 5th book in the Dresden Files series. If you don't know what the Dresden Files are, where have you been? Because I love this series. This is about a guy named Harry Dresden, who is a wizard, also a detective, and he's operating in Chicago, where he also helps the police solve any crimes that are very mysterious and magical. So it's a pretty cool series. Like I said, this is the 4th and 5th book in the Dresden Files series. It's an ongoing series. There's 20 books, I believe. The Jim Butcher, I have several books, but not just these books. I have another series by Jim Butcher that I still have yet to read, called the Codex Alera, which is another one I want to eventually get into. But yeah, the Dresden Files, I've been loving this series. I started reading the series actually a year ago. Well, yeah, from July, a year ago. And I read Stormfront in July, and then I read Full Moon and Grave Peril in November, and then I kind of just put the series down. But no more of that. I am picking these up this month and gonna read them. Alright, and the next book I want to talk about, real quick, Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. He's responsible for the Faithful and the Fallen quartet, which is another series I'm going to get into, but I chose this one because it's a series that's still continuing to be developed. This is just book 1. It came out this year, and it's about mainly Norse mythology. So I thought I'd give it a go, and I'm 170 pages in so far, enjoying it. Next book is the first book in a 10-book series. That's right, 10 books are in this series. And if you can guess what it is, you might be right. Malazan, Book of the Fallen. This is book 1, Gardens of the Moon. I've been trying to give this series my attention, and it just hasn't worked out. But this month it's gonna work out. It has to. It just has to. But yeah, I have all 10 books, and I'm really, really hoping to like it, like a lot of my friends on BookTube have. And yeah, I'm just really hoping to like it. Oh, that was by Steven Erikson, by the way. Yeah. The next book I've also started is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This is one I can relate to a lot, because our main character is going through some struggles in life. She's made a lot of decisions that she's regretted, and unfortunately it leads her to wanting to kill herself. And so she basically does, but when she does unfortunately kill herself, she goes into this in-between world called the Midnight Library, where someone from her past gives her the choice to relive her life. So basically look at all her regrets that she has and basically relive those moments and obviously see how they would have turned out if she made those decisions. And after all of that happens, she's supposed to make a choice, I guess, whether to live her life the way, by choosing a different path, or obviously going on to the afterlife, I think, something like that. But yeah, I'm relating to this book because there's so many regrets that I have, and you just keep going over them in your head, in life, and you just gotta move forward. But yeah, this book so far is so good, and I'm enjoying it. This next book is a thriller called When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. I do not know much about this, and I want to keep it that way. So I'm going to go into this blind. And this looks like it's going to be a quick read, so I cannot wait to devour this book. The next book is part of a series, and it's the first book in the series called Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. This is the first book in now a 4-book series plus a novella. And I heard there's going to be 2 more, I believe. 1 or 2 more books. And if you see that, there's a bookmark from where I left off when I read it last time. I think I was 107 pages in. Oh, let me check. Wow, bingo. Page 107 is where I left off at. And this is about a girl named Safia, I think her name is Sophia, and she is a Truthwitch. And in this world, in the Witchlands, there's politics going on, and there's a war also going on. And there's like 3 different nations, I believe. But in this world, like I said, one of our main character is a Truth Witch, and her best friend is a Thread Witch, and they are basically fleeing their country to get away from a Blood Witch, which Blood Witches are trackers as well. And so yeah, they're fleeing their country to get away from this Blood Witch. At the same time, our main character is a Truth Witch, so she's trying to keep her power hidden from those that would want to use it against another country. You get where I'm going with this? So I just kind of put it down last year when I started reading it because I was kind of confused, but I'm going to give it another go and hopefully finish it because I have all the books plus the novella, and I plan on reading these like crazy. The next 3 books I have here are the Serpent and Dove Trilogy by Shelby Maherin. There is a Serpent and Dove, then book 2, which is Blood and Honey, and book 3, which came out last month, called Gods and Monsters. And by the way, doesn't that look super pretty? It looks so gorgeous. As soon as I went to Barnes & Noble and I saw this, I was like, holy crap, I forgot it was coming out. So I'm gonna read all of these this month. Yeah, I made a promise also to my friend who works at Barnes & Noble that I would like just devour these books and then come back to Barnes & Noble and talk to her about it. So yeah. But yeah, I've been collecting this series and now it's finally over. So the next one I want to talk about is the complete works of Shakespeare. I like Shakespeare a lot. I'm also a theater nerd, so I will randomly sometimes talk to you guys about theater on my channel because I love it. And I'll recommend to you some plays that I have on my shelf as well, or other plays that I want to get into. But this is the complete works of Shakespeare, and I've read quite a few of the plays already in the past, and I've also been in some of these plays because I'm in theater and I act. And yeah, it's been a fun journey learning about Shakespeare. But I plan on reading this whole thing, the complete works of Shakespeare, not this whole month, obviously, that's crazy. But I want to read at least 2 this month, so I'm starting from the beginning, which is King Henry VI is the first play that they have in this book, so I'm going to start there. And this is the cover of this book. This is Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. She's responsible for the Red Queen series, which we're not going to talk about that because that was kind of not that great of an ending. But I decided to give her another shot because this just sounded really good. Realmbreaker is about the chosen one, have you, and she finds out from another immortal that she is the descendant of this race of people, and she is supposed to stop these evil people from doing bad things. Essentially, it's called Realmbreaker because there used to be a ton of portals where people could go through to get to different worlds. But a lot of the portals have since been destroyed, but there is like one or two left. And that's how our main bad guy is like planning on destroying and taking over a lot of places. And I've started this. Like, my mind is kind of like blurring about it though, because I started this book in June. So it's been 2 months since I've read this. But I was enjoying it. I got to like page 170. But I just need a little bit of a refresher. And the last book I want to talk about that I am planning on finishing is Jade City. I started Jade City, I think, back in May. Yeah, in May, and I was enjoying it. I love the whole mob aspect that Jade City has. I'll put a picture real quick for you. And I think the final book, Jade Legacy, just came out. And I'm enjoying the book so far. I'm like 200 or 300 something pages into it, and it's like almost 600 pages. But it's essentially about a family who's kind of like in the mob, but there's some fantasy elements in this story because there's this thing called Jade that if you have it and you know how to, you just put it on you and it enhances your abilities. Makes you faster and all that stuff. But not everyone can wear Jade. You have to come from a certain line of people in order to have and use Jade. And stuff like that. Honestly, it's been since May since I've visited this book, so I'm gonna have a little bit of a refresher. But yeah, that's essentially my TBR in a nutshell. A lot of books, yes, but I think I could handle finishing a lot of them. So yeah, and be on the look. Book of the month unboxing video, you guys. Anyway, that'll be coming up soon. To hit the like and subscribe button, that would mean a lot to me. That will let you know when I put out more content. So yeah, you guys, can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.